Hi guys, it's me, Carrie Silver Lining Meta, and on today's episode of Silver Linings, I got to talk to Jesus. Jesus sought out me and Jason. That's trippy. He came actually to tell us that he was, I think I have to review again, but I think he came to tell us that he was proud of us. And when I did review, I always, I try to make it a message for everyone, but as I was watching the replay, I see how much that message was truly for me and for Jason too, but it was such a personal message. And I just feel so honored is not the right word, and blessed doesn't even feel right. I just feel really grateful that he took time to come and talk to us. And then he said a little funny afterwards too. It wasn't in the video, but I was joking with him and Jason about how I don't know, something that, and we kind of talk about it in the video about how he became like one of the most historical, well-known figures of, human history or something like that. And then he goes, "Me and Santa Claus," and I laughed so hard at that. It wasn't even until later that I realized how truly funny that was. That Jesus and Santa, because in Christianity that's kind of conflicting shit sometimes. But I really appreciated that he threw the two of them together. It's true. I talked to Santa Claus too, St. Nicholas, and he told me that all this time, he's been receiving nothing but love from, innocent, pure love from children. What a great idea that was, huh? All right, and then this, if you don't like this part, you can go ahead and blame Sarah. But I'm throwing it in there because I just am. But she knew, my friend Sarah, she knew that I had just talked to Jesus. So she brought me one of these. And I thought at first I might read about it. I might, Google the king cake rituals or traditions, because I don't know. So this is what I'm getting out of this. And wait, I want to show you some, because look, she got it off the day old rack because she knows how much I love a bargain. So for me, that's like a big bonus. My kids, if they don't see these clearance stickers, they don't think it's real food. Okay, so this is what you're supposed to do, and I don't know why, but somehow baby Jesus, which they used to bake right into the cake, now they just tape him to the inside, and you got to shove him inside this cake called a Mardi Gras king cake. So somehow Mardi Gras, which is, I don't know if it's like France French or Louisiana French, but I know that Mardi Gras means Fat Tuesday. So on Tuesday they have a parade, and they throw beads everywhere from the floats in the parade and from the balconies. And then all the girls take off their tops and show their boobs. And then you go and you get a cake, a purple, yellow, and green cake. And you shove baby Jesus inside the cake. So I'm going to pretend like this is already done. Hang on. I'm going to get this baby Jesus. I really don't understand the correlation of any of this. Baby Jesus in the cake. Somebody, look at this thing. I can't even believe I'm going to do this right now. But I'll tell you why I'm going to do this. Because I went out to lunch with Lucas and I ate 2 tortillas. So I'm jacked up on carbohydrates. Look, it's almost like a heart shape. Or an ass. A Mardi Gras ass. I'll show it right in the ass crack. Oh my God. Apparently they don't bake baby Jesus into the cake anymore, so that baby Jesus doesn't kill anyone. Okay, because Jesus saves, he doesn't kill. Come on. Okay, so now I shove baby Jesus in. Probably supposed to have a knife, but I don't have one here. So I'm gonna take a bite of this like giant donut and watch what happens. Oh my God! Look. I got the baby Jesus. I won the Mardi Gras. I won baby Jesus out of the Mardi Gras cake. I still don't know what this means. I don't understand the rituals. I like to keep my filters pure. All right, you guys. Jesus, please forgive me. You guys forgive me too, okay? I might eat some more of this. All right, bye. Oh, wait. Oh, my gosh. I forgot to do something, and I didn't even change the writing on it, but I don't want to do this again. This says all the stuff from the old show. I'm just going to do really quick. Silver Linings, episode 9. Carrie, Jesus, and Jason, and action. Woo! I got it in. Thanks, guys. Okay, here I got Jason back on Silver Linings. But this time, he kind of came knocking on my door because you had someone knocking on your door. So I'm going to let you take over and explain yourself.
Okay. You got some explaining to do.
That's right.
So I watched the video with you and Dennis, my friend Dennis, about the shadow work and really getting rid of things that no longer serve you. And you made a comment within the video that really kind of opened up the door for, I guess, I don't want to call him the guest speaker, but really opened up the door for validation for you, validation for me, and another perspective, I guess. So I feel so weird being like, so Jesus is here. Jesus immediately came in when I was watching the video with Carrie and Dennis, and I sound so weird still, even to this day, sometimes saying that.
I know.
But it's no different, right? It's just an energy. But he was making the comparison to you and to all of us that are going through the same kind of journey of clearing things that no longer serve us and really standing on our own power, and to coin your phrase, standing in your spotlight. So he was like, reach out, so I immediately started bombarding you with messages, and I was like, hey, I want to talk about this, he wants to talk about this. And so here we are.
I'm too tired. Tomorrow I can't do it. But I was really excited about that too. I felt honored. Thank you, Jesus, for coming in, because even though we are standing in our spotlights and we are understanding our paths and just keep on our power, it's still a journey. And so all of these bits of encouragement and everything else are still helping. So I appreciate that you came to us to want to share and talk about stuff. And not only that, I'm really excited to talk to you through a different medium. This is a new experience for me. How you doing, big boy?
Yeah, he says I'm doing well. Thank you he's so polite. It's weird. It's a very polite, but it's also kind of rugged. Is that the right word that I want to use? Like, multifaceted. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So he says, thank you for having me. And he's talking about what we talked about how it's weird for me. It's weird for me. But it's no different. It's no different than communicating with any other energy, but it's the name. He's like, just calm down, Jason.
It's it's two different things, Jason. Let me tell you a funny story that happened an hour ago or so. I told you I made breakfast, and my husband and I are eating breakfast, and I don't know what the fuck he was thinking, but we have no kids. They're all upstairs sleeping still. We partied hard last night. So he turns on the TV and there's SpongeBob on. I'm like, no, we're not watching SpongeBob when there are no kids here. Go find something else. So he finds our local pastor. Whatever, I don't know if I should say his name, but anyway, he's a nice enough man and stuff, but I don't like religion. And so he starts talking about, the sin and, all that stuff. And I grab my plate and I walk out the door, and my husband starts to get mad at me. And I go, no, it's okay. He's a good leader, and, whatever. For you like religion, but I don't. And it kind of makes me feel icky. So I'm respecting your choice to watch this.
Right.
But I don't want to hear it. And then as I'm walking out the door, I'm laughing at myself. I'm like, I want to talk to Jesus.
Jesus later. Yeah.
I know. It's so funny.
I knew that's where you were going with it. And I was expecting you to be like, and I told him I'm going to be talking to Jesus later anyways. So
I did say that. So funny.
Yeah. And I'm the same way. Like, religion for me, like I had bad experiences, well, good and bad experiences growing up in church. For me, it was always very judgy, and especially being in my position, right? Like, I grew up with, oh, you're going to burn in hell. You're going to burn.
You sure are.
I know, right? Yeah. But he says, this is the thing. He says, I'm not going to say it as eloquently as what he says, but he says, I'm not religion, right? Like I'm not religion. Yes, I'm associated with religion, but he says, even back when I was Jesus, right? When I was portraying that role, he says, I was anti-establishment, right? Like, He was.
You rebel.
Yeah, he wasn't, because it was very much about, he's very much about finding your own way and finding your own truth and not being reliant. Look at him tying it back into the spotlight. You know, he was very much about helping people find their own way and their own truth and not being dependent upon a religion. Now, not to take away from the good that churches can do and religion can do, because some people need that organized structure.
My husband loves it. It makes him feel good. There's good messages. It can be a great thing for some people, but it's not the end all, right? There are thousands of different ways. He's more than that, thousands of different ways to find one. And then with religion, there comes issues. Which one's right? Which one's wrong? Why is this one better? So, you know, like, that's for me one reason why I don't go to church. I don't, you know, like they're not on my same path of you can have all these realities at the same time. Yeah, you can.
It is for some people, and it's not. And whether you do or you don't, it's fine. Yes, right? Like it's fine. It's your choice.
It is. Yep.
Yeah. He's making me feel. It's so loving, and he very much is wanting to encourage everyone to realize that you are not dependent upon other people to give yourself value.
Yes.
Right. And finding value in yourself comes from within yourself. It's almost like you have to love yourself before you can love someone else. Like, no one else is going to be able to give you the answer. They may be able to. It's very much the saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Yes.
Like, so so if we're all horses, there are different paths that can take us to the water, but it's still our choice to actually drink. So it's our choice, even though there are many vehicles that can bring us to our spotlight, it's our choice to stand in the spotlight and honor our spotlight.
I'm going to put that spin on my personal journey, because that's what I'm here for. But, and I just commented on, somebody made a comment on my, her name is Ginny, on my video with Dennis. And she gave me a lot of words of encouragement and said, you know, Eric's right. You are here to teach us to stand in our power too. And so what I said back to her was, you know, all along my journey, and I understand that we are, you know, here to learn self-love, but those people that led me to that self-love, to that water, they encouraged me, and they did give me love, and I did, you know, ingest that. However, when it was crossing that threshold, it truly was my choice. I had to allow myself to believe that love and, you know, accept it and accept myself. So it really, you know, I loved the love, but it truly didn't matter how much was thrown at me. That choice still.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, he says that you're going to have people along the way that support you, right? That encourage you. And it's almost like they're candle holders lighting your path to the spotlight. And we all need that. We all need that support system. But again, it ultimately is your decision of really standing in it. And because it gives you control of how you allow others to affect you.
Yes.
How you allow your environment to affect you. And, you know, it's no longer, well, they did this to me. Well, ultimately, if you are allowing them to do that to you, it's your fault. You're doing it to yourself.
Right.
And he says it can be a very hard lesson to learn. And he talked about that night, and I guess now, he talked about and was comparing to how he struggled through that with his life and really finding his spotlight. Now, he says that he found it very early on. He found it very early on, and most of us aren't that lucky, right? For most of us, it is a journey of finding the spotlight. But he says even when he found his spotlight and he knew who he was, what he was supposed to do, he still faced adversity. You know, and at that point, it's a matter of, okay, I found my spotlight. Do I continue to stand in it? Or do I step out and then step back in along the way? Do I step out, step back in? And you very well may do that on your journey. You may step back out of the spotlight because it gets too intense, but something is going to bring you back to step back in it. He just says that he managed to stay in the spotlight. And we were talking earlier, he made the joke. He said, look, people are still talking about me today. You know, he's like, they're still talking about me today.
You did it!
Yeah.
So maybe he means like kind of that, you know, we created a little stir. Our stir's already come and gone, I think.
Yeah.
But it's still affecting us in a way. You know, it's put some food for thought, and we're still learning and growing from it. So maybe that was his version of kind of pulling away a little bit, reflecting.
Yeah.
And, I don't know.
Yeah, because it very much was a, oh shit, you know, the spotlight's being put on me. Like, but now it's, you know, it very much is like, okay, I think that we understood, or, you know, I can speak for myself. I understand now, at least in my head. I'm still committing to it, but I'm getting there. Like I'm 98% committed to, at least in this situation, kind of standing in my power. And I understand this was the role that I was to play.
Yes.
This was my truth in the moment. And I'm not, no one is going to, and this is for everybody. It's your reality. It's your truth, right? So do not let anyone else take away. If you're coming from a place of love and you are, your intent is to heal and not hurt. I don't care if I have 1,000 people tell me you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. If in my present moment, I am okay with it and I still believe in what I did, what I said, how I acted, how I reacted, whatever, then that's my truth. And you know what? When it comes down to it, this is my reality. The rest of you are players in my video game, right? And that's the same way for everybody. Like the people that are watching, this is your reality, and I'm a player in your video game. Like Carrie, this is your reality. I'm a player in your video game.
That's right.
You know, and so my spotlight is no more important or less important than your spotlight or any of the people that are going to watch this. And I think that a lot of us, we devalue ourselves, and because
I'm just going to use the word, the haters bring us down sometimes.
Yeah.
Focus on that. I want to, you just said, wait, keep going. You still have a sentence. Keep going.
Yeah. Well, you said the haters bring us down, and those haters are part of the journey, right?
Yes.
Like if it wasn't for the haters, we wouldn't be able to rise above and to overcome, and then to really settle in our truth. He's like, I have tons of haters.
The contrast plays a role.
Yeah, really absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And, you said a few minutes ago that, if you're coming from a place of love in your heart and you have only good intentions, when somebody perceives that as anything other than that, then what I do is I just kind of feel like they are deficit in some way. They wouldn't, because if their heart was full of love, then they would only perceive mine. And I don't mean to say that they're ugly and vindictive. I just mean that they have hurts that haven't healed yet. And those hurts are the filters that allowed them to receive the information in a less than pure way. So,
and when it comes down to it, he says, but at that moment, that's their reality and that's their truth.
Yes.
And that their truth is their truth is no less important or more important than our truth. It's just the simple fact of that's their truth in the moment.
They don't necessarily have to be wrong, because that is their reality. Let them have it. And even, and you just have to let them have it because it's theirs. So that's where owning your own truth comes in, because it doesn't matter what they think. It's what you know about yourself. And that's it.
That's the key. And that's something that I'm trying to put into practice on a daily basis. Like I will acknowledge, okay, this is your truth. And I'm going to try, we're human, so we still do it, but I'm going to try not to judge you based off of your opinion or your truth, but I'm also I'm going to do my best not to judge myself based off of your truth, because that's your truth and not my truth. He says, that's why we come down here, right? Like, that's why we come down here to experience and we incarnate. You know, we talked about religion earlier in church, and you know, I talked about how I was always told, oh, you know, hell, you're going to burn in hell. I don't believe in hell. I don't, as far as a place where you're going to go after you die. In my mind, this is hell, right? Like Earth, like being incarnate. Yeah, like this is hell. If hell is going to be described as the furthest away from source or from God,
that makes sense, because we're pretty.
Yeah, like we feel so even though
separate.
we're not. Yeah, we feel, that's it. We're not separate, but we feel separate.
Yeah, so that makes sense. I like the way you said that. It's not necessarily hell. It's just the farthest place from source you can be.
Yeah.
Which, you know, is the opposite of God is hell.
Yeah.
So.
How do you,
but
how do you, you know, if, not that we can't learn and grow over there, but it's so easy. You know, it's so easy over there, and that you never, how do I say that? Like, it's a difference between baby steps and then leaps and bounds, right?
To me, it's like the difference between reading a book or watching a video on scaling a mountain versus scaling a mountain.
Right. You learn more by actually doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we come here, and our ultimate purpose when we come here is, I mean, there's tons of different reasons why we all have different reasons, but there is, he says, there is an underlying theme of standing in your spotlight, right? Like, whatever your role is in your reality, like standing in your spotlight and owning it 100%. And he says, you know, most of us never really get to that point, not fully. And then some of us will get there and then we backtrack. And then you have some people that just come in knowing. He says, like I did, like I knew. And no matter what happens, you know, we don't waver. He's super proud of you. Also, he's super proud of you for getting to the point of really saying, you know what, it's like the I am woman, hear me roar kind of is what he's wanting to say. But you know, like you've come so far in your journey, and you're to the point now of just being like, you know what, fuck you, you're cool, fuck you. You know, like, because you're honoring you're honoring your truth, and he's putting a cape on you, like a superhero.
Super fairy.
Yeah.
But you know, to those people that I'm fucking you to, it's not really that I wish them ill or I hate them or anything else. I'm just like, you know, he wants. Well,
I mean that in love. It's a loving. Fuck you.
I know you know that, but you know, I want to make it clear to everyone else that, you know, I'm certainly not a hater. I don't wish anyone ill will. But if you're not with me, then go over there and be with you.
Yeah. And I love how you said, if you're not with me, but you didn't, you know, typically people say, if you're not with me, you're against me. Yeah. And you didn't say that. Like, you didn't say that. You said, if you're not with me, then okay, then you're just over here.
With you.
Right? And I'm going to stay in my lane.
Yeah.
You just don't swerve into my lane. You stay in yours, I'll stay in mine. And you're still progressing, right? Even though you're in different lanes, you're still all going towards the same.
That's true.
The same destination.
Yeah. People just drive a little faster. I've been in trouble many times from spirit for speeding.
Yeah. Some people speed, some people swerve, some people hit reverse, some people break down. Yeah.
So Jesus, I got you here, and people love you. So I want to get a little bit personal with you and your journey. So, and you know, you've told us that you reached this point early, but what would go on in your mind? When you would meet adversity, like what's your internal dialogue that you might have?
He says, I got angry. You know, like, I feel like I'm going to paraphrase. He's like, I got angry, right? There's stories in the Bible. I got angry. I was human, having a human experience. So I'm still going to have the human emotions, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not, or I wasn't this holier than thou person that people have the perception of me being like. Not, he says, not to say that I wasn't connected, but that's different, right? Like,
yes,
it's different. He says he was very, well, we know that, he
well,
was
we,
very connected.
we think that, connected used to mean this too, but now we know that they're just more sophisticated the way you're actually.
Yeah, he says my telephone line was just, I had a faster connection, or my internet was faster, right? But he still very much, had human emotions, and he would get angry, but he would realize kind of the same thing that he just talked about, like that's their journey, this is their role, right? So it's very much the forgive and forget, like even if they're not willing to forgive you, I don't want to say being the bigger person, because that denotes like I'm better than or I'm above, but
I'm going to call it just the more like learned person, because we just have a bigger a greater perspective. That's all it is.
Yeah. So I think he understood the role that person was playing. He understood that he was at a different point in his journey, or on the highway, right? Now they're singing that Life is a Highway song.
Uh-oh, it's going to be in our brains all day. Thanks a lot.
But, he accepted it for what it was. And then let it go. He says, why would I hold on to that when it doesn't serve my purpose? And it wasn't always an immediate, again, I'm not holier, right? I'm not holier than thou. It wasn't always an immediate, oh, I forgive you. He says, I got angry, I got upset. And sometimes it was a process of me dealing with how I reacted to the situation, how they made me feel. But once I processed and I understood that their perception of me is not a reflection of me.
It makes sense that since you did come to Earth to be a human, that you too would choose to have learning experiences. So and you were a human, and we have to process our emotions. So all of that sounds reasonable.
And he talks about, I'm not trying to be all Bible, but he talks about the older he got, the easier it was for him to just let it immediately go. He says, we hear the story of him walking through town and carrying the cross, right? Or the thorns and being beaten, or having people throwing food and rocks and being spit on. He makes me feel like, he's giving me the chill bumps really bad. Even though it was a little different than the story depicted, it is ultimately still true. Like that scenario still, it did happen. It may have happened a little differently, but he says the minor details don't really matter. He says in that process of being, I almost said broken, but he said, no, don't say broken, because I wasn't broken. If I was broken, I would have reacted, and I would not have carried on. But he says I was physically, let's say that, physically broken as far as how my body was reacting to the situation.
Got it.
But in my heart, I knew that I could not judge them for their perception of me, because ultimately, he says, their perception of me was very, very influenced by the people in power.
Exactly.
Right? So they were doing and reacting in a way that they thought that they had to react. But he says, I held strong. I didn't blame. I didn't place blame. I didn't hate. I simply acknowledged the truth of the matter. Is that they didn't know any better.
It's almost, and I don't mean to demean them. I talked about that, ascended viewpoint, and I don't know if it was Eric or Jesus or who, but when I was talking about my mom all the time, I got the impression, just kind of think of her like a small child that can't learn. You're not going to tell that 5-year-old, fuck you. You don't get where I'm coming from.
Right.
No, you're just going to let them be 5 years old and accept them for as they are and still love them.
Yeah.
Because who you are.
Yeah. And he said that the way that he treated them with love and forgiveness in that process, in that act of when it was happening, affected them more positively in the long run than if he was to be the one lashing out, right? Like,
okay. They thought about it later on then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
So Jesus, are people thinking about our stuff that's going on at all? Are we having like a miniature version of affecting people in that way, and well, in some way? Don't mean to compare either.
Yeah, it's very much of I think we're thinking of it more than, not to say that people aren't, not to say that people
I know it's affected us more. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, and you said it, because it's affecting us personally, we think about it a little bit more than what other people think of it. But he says, ultimately, whoever is thinking about it in the situation, or whoever has been affected in the situation, again, we're all affected, right? So we're all affected in different ways, and there may be different perceptions of what happened. But it all, again, comes down to that's their reality, and their reality doesn't have to be your reality. It doesn't have to be my reality.
And it's learning all the way around too, which is truly why we came.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it comes back down to the roles, right? Like the roles that, that sounds so woo-woo, but being like the roles that we chose to play. And in my mind, I'm just like, well, how cool is it that I got to, ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, the bigger picture, how cool is it that I got to play a part, and that you got to play a part? Because right now we're stuck in this moment. We're not able to see what the greater outcome is going to be. But years down the line, when we go from this narrow view to this kind of expanded view, how cool is it going to be being able to look back and being like, you know what, I played a part. Ultimately, like, I played a part in. Yes.
Well, let me extend that a little bit, because I have thanked you a few times, and in my brain, I'm like, thank you, higher self Jason, for contracting with higher self Carrie to have this experience together, because we're just so similar. It just, clearly we did sign up for this, and we picked partners in this particular, life lesson. So I get it. But
we talked about this in the last video about how, even though I'm not a fractal, that we run in the same, circle, right? The same circles.
We're in the Vesica Pisces.
Yeah. Yes. I have been trying to say that word. I'll think about it randomly.
And I'm like, what was that word again?
I'm just like, the circles, the overlapping circles. So I don't know who this is. They're just being funny, and they're, because I think one of the comments I made last time was like, we're like in the same gang we're in the gangs that run together.
Yes.
And I don't know, was that West Side Story? Is that the Romeo Juliet with the gangs?
Yes.
That's kind of like the picture that they put. I don't know why I feel like I need to be holding onto a rope and have a knife in one hand, and you have a knife in one hand, and we're just dancing in a circle. Like we're.
Let's do it. That's so silly. Rough you up, man.
Yeah. But he says that, everybody, he says, and this is kind of cool too. Even people that are observing this through whatever media channel, or, even those people that are observing this are contracted to be a part of it, because they are a part of it, because it affects them also.
So cool.
Right? Yeah.
I bet it's just, it sounds so complex, the way our lives are so webbed together. How do they plan this stuff up there? They must be so smart.
Yeah. He says it's not that we're smarter, but we're not, it's just the
You're
view.
not one brain, maybe.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So if you think about that, like, if you have access to everything,
right,
and you have access to everyone in the scheme, and then you have, I'm going to call them professionals that you are working with that are helping you plan, right?
Right.
It's almost like you're going to the school guidance counselor and he's helping you figure out what career is best for you, right?
Right.
Let me ask you some questions. What do you want to do? Okay. Well, who else matched with you on this? Let's put all these people together and see what works out.
Is there actually a spirit job that helps coordinate lifelines?
Yeah.
Oh,
there are people that will help you.
Sounds like math. I'm sure I
Yeah. Well, he says that they're typically I don't like using the higher.
I know.
But you know, they're typically more, and I don't even like using more evolved because it feels like it takes away. I'm trying to, like, what's another word that I can use?
Let's do expanded. Expand.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Okay.
So
because
they have
higher feels like up. Expanded feels like a bigger
circle. Right. Yeah. So there are specialists, if you want to call them specialists, that can help you plan. You basically, it's very much like the test. Like you walk through and it's like, okay, what do I want to do? What am I interest? And then they run the Scantron through the machine and they say, okay, well, these are the people that score next to you that have the same mission. This is the family that can help you do this. These are the friends that can help you do this. These are the guides that can help you do this.
So cool.
Super. I feel like it's super complex, but it's not really. It's not really. I guess because it's hard to. Their perception, it's just hard to imagine that it's not difficult. I can't
handle algebra because they put letters in math. So this stuff is just.
Yeah. God, what is that? There was a movie. I think it was a movie or a TV show that I just watched. Because, they changed math now, like how you multiply and all this. It was The Incredibles. It was The Incredibles too.
Right.
He's trying to help his son with homework. And he's like, you can't change math. He's like, this isn't math. And his son's like, Dad, that's not the way that you do it. That's not the way that you do it.
I can't help my kids with their homework. They know better than to come with me.
Yeah.
Have the math brain. All right. Well, let's see. Oh, Jesus. Since this is your idea, do you want to say anything else?
Yeah, he just wants to encourage people to. I feel like I have just beaten this horse dead by talking about honoring your truth.
Do it again.
But he really wants people to realize that they are more than how people see them, right? You are more than the perceptions of others. And a lot of us, we base our value on, or we judge ourselves based off of how others judge us. And he says, you're so much more than someone else's opinion, and you're so much more than someone else's perception. And it can only affect you if you allow it to affect you.
That is the truth.
Yeah. And he says that once you realize that, and you realize that you are a creator, and you change your mindset about how you feel about yourself, he says those people around you that are kind of judging, their perception will start to change. And it's not because you've done anything actively to change their perception. It's because you are no longer allowing their energy to influence your energy, right? Like you're standing in your spotlight, right? Like
if you're standing in your spotlight and your spotlight is truly bright as you believe it to be, then at some point that's the only thing that will show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it won't even matter.
Yeah, he said it's amazing. It's amazing when you realize that, because I'm covered in chill bumps, and I got the space heater next to me. I'm my mother's child, always in front of the space heater. He says, yeah, it's amazing to witness how others around you start changing when you really wholeheartedly accept yourself and you know, I don't want to keep saying honor yourself, but that's really what it is. It's accepting yourself, honoring yourself, knowing that you are who you're supposed to be, you're where you're supposed to be, whether it's what we would call a good situation or a bad situation. But again, if it's a situation that you perceive as bad, what are you actively doing to change that situation? What are you actively doing to change your perception of the situation?
Find your silver linings. Go with that.
Yeah.
Don't keep it in the negative. Find a positive.
You know, and he talked about how we're creators, and people always talk about how you know, your thoughts create, or your thoughts create your reality. And it's absolutely true, even though sometimes it can be hard to understand. But if I'm in a shitty situation and I keep thinking about and telling myself, oh, I'm in this shitty situation, or I wish this shitty situation would change. Well, if I'm focusing on changing or on wanting or needing,
that's how it's going to stay.
I'm still perpetuating that situation. So I've got to change my mindset and be appreciative of what I currently have. You know, so even if I'm let's say I'm in a horrible job that I just can't stand, but I can't seem to find another one. Well, I need to start changing my mindset and say, you know what, I'm thankful for this job that I currently have. It's allowing me to now have a new one, or being thankful for, you know, thank you for the opportunities of a new job that has this, and this coming up. It's all about changing the mindset.
You know what's going to happen too with your shitty job? When you get the next job, you'll appreciate it so much more, because now you have a frame of reference of how fucked up it was before.
Yeah. And he says there's tons of books and there's tons of videos out there. Like, he's not going to get into he says, because this one doesn't doesn't understand or would not be able to describe it. And I know that. Maybe that I'm limiting myself. Maybe that I need to change my mindset, right? Maybe I'm limiting myself, and because I'm telling myself that I don't feel as though I would be able to describe it as well.
Oh, are you selling yourself short? Come on.
I know, right? Yeah. He says it's simple. It's easier than what it sounds. It sounds like it's this huge, you know, thing, but it's not. He says, start with being grateful. He says, we'll leave it there. Start with being grateful for what you have, even if you're not happy with what you have. Show gratitude for it, and understand that on some level, it is helping you grow, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Think about all the shitty things in your past that you have overcome.
Yeah.
There are lessons behind it. There, all that stuff. And remember what I said to you earlier is that instead of being a big whiny victim and running away or anything else, and you know, if somebody wants to be that way, that's up to them. But for me, I'm like, okay, once again, I have another opportunity to heal, another opportunity to learn. So even though I don't want to face my bullshit, I also know what's going to come after I do. So I'm going to face it head on. Yeah, I'm not running away, I'm not fearing it.
Yeah, he says, why be the mouse when you can be the lion, right? Like, confronting, because that's essentially what you're doing, right? You're confronting the things that you would normally run away from. And by confronting it, you take the power away from it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Right, because running away from something, I'm afraid of it. It's intimidating to me.
And then it's constantly chasing you, right?
And but when not only that, our soul selves come out to learn. So if you don't ever face it, you're going to keep getting that lesson thrown at you over and over until you do. So get it over with.
Amen. Right? Amen. The next time I come down, I'm getting a life of leisure. I'm doing my best.
You're going to be Mona's cousin or something.
Yes. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best to try to face shit now. So the next time,
mountain or something.
It'll just be a vacation life.
Yes. You know what, Jason? I just told told Heather on the video we just did yesterday that didn't video, just audioed. But I invented this really cool term. And we do come down to earth because we want to learn and it's hardcore and stuff. But I'm at this place, and even though I have more healing to do, I'm really appreciating my 3D life. So in my brain, I'm like, I am now on my earth incarnation vacation. So I'm taking a break from heaven to, you know, reaping all the fun of Earth.
Yeah.
So let the vacation begin, huh?
The physicality of it, right? Well, like the food and the sex. The food and the sex. Yes.
I was just thinking, I got to figure out how to make carbs not affect me. I got to work on that.
God, when you figure that out, let me know.
All right, I will. I'm also working on the gray hair. Right now I got gray lace spray. I cheated.
They're your sparkles. They're your natural sparkles.
Right, it's au naturel. All of it.
You're trying to work on reversing yours. I'm trying to work on getting mine to come out. Like I'm trying to produce mine.
Why? See,
I love
double man stand. You know, the men look great, the women not so much.
I love silver hair. Like I love it. I just think it's pretty. So I'm working on manifesting mine. Yeah.
If mine were super silver and gorge, I would agree, but it's dirty. It's just not that way. Maybe I have to have another 10 years worth of gray popping out. I don't know. Okay, well, I think unless anybody has something else to say, I'll wrap it up, but I don't want you to leave me yet.
No, I think that he's like mission accomplished.
All right, Jesus. Thank you so much for coming. I feel like I didn't talk to him like personally too much, but that's okay. We'll talk later.
He says you're welcome. He says you're welcome.
All right, Jesus. I love you. See you later.
Yeah, he loves you too.
Okay, don't hang up, Jason. Thanks for doing this with me. Okay, bye, everybody. Thanks for listening and watching. Say bye, Jason.
Bye, everybody.